physicist, does he?
Well, that's because he isn't one.
Well, obviously, look at it.
I suppose he could be.
No, he couldn't.
Like, just say so on the door.
What he said on the man's door reveals nothing of the interior.
Isn't today Tuesday?
Of course not. In order for it to be Tuesday, he would have had to have been to the library this morning and would therefore still be there for a very minimum of, what, half an hour? With the appropriate calculated allowance time for accidents, incidents, anomalies, of the sort that would delay him. He's arrived early.
And what time is it?
10:25.
Well, if it isn't Tuesday, what day is it?
I suppose it was windy today. And I suppose it could have brought him back before he even got to the library.
Wind.
Wind. I suppose a strong enough gale could cause all sorts of traffic problems, force a man off his feet. And maybe you bring about something terrible must have fallen from a high!
These considerations are accounted for. Right down to the innocent whisking up of a woman's skirt, causing paralysing embarrassment, resulting in a change of direction in at least the opposite way. Or perhaps a newspaper flown out of hand into the perfectly innocent face of a local renowned murderer who just happens to be holding his lucky butcher knife in case of a need of a savage overreaction.
I suppose.
25.
More importantly.
We didn't put that there, did we?
Did we put that there?
I don't remember putting that there.
We didn't put that there.
I don't remember putting that there.
We didn't put that there!
Well, obviously, look at it!
Well, if we didn't put that there,
Who did?
I told you it wasn't Monday.
this alarming fascination should not be present by any routine.
Or routines so carefully calculated for the deliberate avoidance of such undesirably spontaneous appearances.
And yet, here it is.
Lipstick stain on the side! Was it she?
Oh, she couldn't have, wouldn't have, shouldn't have.
She might. Well, who's to say she didn't just waltz into your autonomous residence, sweep her hand across the mantelpiece, nudge the corner piece with her hips, push the rug out of place as she stepped on it, and when all of the damage was already done, drink a cup of tea.
The whereabouts of the cup, spoons, milk, tea bags, kettle, sugar, and every other object in the kitchen, and indeed in the house, is all strictly esoteric knowledge only learnt and memorised by those inside the house. By me. Am I overpraising the situation?
More importantly, she would have no way of getting in.
She doesn't have a key. We didn't give her a key.
She did make small talk for longer than a minute.
You might have given her the spare key.
Oh.
Well, depending on the exact length, extent, and depth of the conversation at hand, she may have wrongly experienced willing emanating from you.
I think we mentioned, the weather.
Ooh, sounds like there was a sort of comradeship of conversation.
Conversation results in all sorts of things. Most of the time, another conversation.
And then another.
And another after
A
that.
continuum of conversations until closeness is developed.
Closeness. Key-giving closeness.
Oh, which when she did indeed enter the house, sweep her hand across the mantelpiece, nudge the corner piece of her hips, move them right across the table, she stepped on it, oh, trail mud from her shoes, leave the door open, use a spoon. Possibly even for special occasions, move the contents of the freezer, make a cup of tea. Well, she had no right to do all I say. A man's home is his place to be alone, a haven, a world within his own where he could think about the world outside, without being disturbed by it.
Until, of course, it lets itself in.
What was that?
I came from beyond! In the kitchen!
No one's ever been in the kitchen. No one's ever been inside the house.
What if they're moving things? The colour-coded tea towels, the napkins at perpendicular angles to the fruit bowl, the very next room that couldn't explode into chaos! Sorry.
Well, you can't possibly be thinking of going in there. It's safe in here. Everything is in the correct position. The right angles are certified, approved, and maintained alignments.
Except that!
Even so, we can never be sure of the motivations of outsiders to the safe, secure, and most importantly, enclosed confines of the house. That could literally be the most foul, treacherous, filthy scumbag of human being we've ever come across.
Where have you been with a homemade shopping system you couldn't directly to the tablecloth of the placeman?
They're right, you know. Maybe this is a matter for the police.
Right then.
Oh, that was quick.
I do believe you're consulting geophysicists
No.
It does say so on the door.
Of course not, you don't look much like a consulting geophysicist. Not to worry, sir, yes. Hang on this case. We'll soon find out what happened. Now, you say you played no part in this, and yet there's that evidence quite evidently sat to the contrary. But I'll get to the truth if it takes me all year.
Now see here! There are far too many people in my house than I would ever care to think about. Now that you're in my bastion, I request, rather severely, and with stretched patience, that you adhere to my questions and in my selected preference of manner in which I shall address them to you. Right then. Firstly, and more importantly, how did you get in?
Oh, you let me in.
No, I didn't. I never let anyone in.
Then how is she here?
That has very little bearing on the greater question in hand. There is somebody else who has entered my house without my permission and thusly illegally. I assume that is the reason for your prompt, presumptuous appearance.
There is another in your house, and I do intend to find out how she got to you.
Is she?
And it just so happens to be here, within your house, which is the only place I can find some sort of conclusive answers.
My house? Why is it that my house is suddenly the central focus point of all things important?
Oh, we always said that.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Well, the house itself is little interest me. In fact, I find it rather irritating in my personal opinion, and rather distracting to my inquiry. More importantly, it's the unusually unprecedented appearance of that within it.
I don't remember putting that.
We didn't put that there.
The human in your house is female, by definition. I can assure you that much is known and is not so hard to observe once you've got the hang of it. But you're aware of that, sir, since you met her before, didn't you? Why don't we start our search in the kitchen?
No!
Why ever not?
Things aren't in the correct position anymore. She's moved them.
It's what people ever do to this house if ever they enter. That's why we don't let them in.
That part of my house. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything. I don't know what's in there.
Right. Well, we'll have to begin somewhere else. How about instead with the small and delicate elephant in the room? Let us instead discuss her cup of tea.
Her cup of tea? That cup of tea is not her cup of tea. It is quite blatantly my morning brand of tea bag still within, and the stain of the rim suggests it was filled to my desirable level. More importantly, the stains of the rim and the granules of sugar suggest their usage, and she informs me that she takes neither.
She informed you. So you distinctly remember a conversation taking place with your intruder?
Against his own will, if I might add.
Yes. It was this morning at the library cafe.
That's Tuesday's routine. It is Tuesday.
Oh, well. It was a Monday this morning.
And yet, on a Tuesday, he arrived home early.
What time is it?
10:25.
10:25.
And it was here, at the library cafe, that she informed you of her beverage preferences.
A cup of tea is a pleasant thing, policeman. Woman. Mrs. Police. Mom. The stirring of the spoon at whatever speed you find appropriate to your situational mood. In whatever direction you see fit.
Most of the time it's left.
The temperature just right.
Still cool and you can still sip at it.
The exact correct instalment of whatever it is you should choose to put in.
Whatever you should choose.
A pleasant thing, if not an essential part of anyone's daily routine.
One of the only things that can be relied on in life, not to jump out at you coarsely or unexpectedly from behind a bush of surprise.
Life's bushy surprises do not often come into contact with cups of tea, and that is much the way I prefer it. It is one of the only ways I can truly achieve freedom.
Except in this particular case, sir. Rather, in this case, I would say tea is the cause of all things unexpected and cataclysmic. And therefore, it would be of great benefit to both of us, sir, as we are helping each other out here. If you could explain to me if this is your tea down to all its intricate detail, why it wasn't drunk by you, but instead drunk by the unquestionably mysterious factor currently strolling about your kitchen.
My! The detective has reached the peak of the puzzlement, the core of our confounding conundrum.
She's obviously here to drink my tea. If I knew the answer to why, this wouldn't be half the problem it is.
No, because for what other reason could a person possibly have for breaking into someone's house if not to finish off their cuppa?
Causes all sorts of mayhem.
Would this be the first time a foreign party's entered your house?
First time anyone's drank the tea, either.
The two go hand in hand.
You appear inexplicably bewildered. Is it some sort of commonplace for you to investigate house intrusions?
Well, I wouldn't open with it as a picture of my job description, but then again, you're far particular, and this is far more unique than the most bizarre house I've ever encountered.
She seems uncomfortable.
I don't see why.
Not that anyone proposed being a friend in a house such as this. Why her? Why specifically her?
For a detective, she's not very good at answering her own questions.
There's a reason she's here.
She has already accomplished her reasons, and it's sitting noticeably empty on my coffee table.
Then why is she still here? It does seem rather odd, doesn't it, on the one and only occasion a disruption to Tuesday's routine should spontaneously occur without but a second practically parallel, equally in its noteworthy suspiciousness, should follow it. I'm quite certain there's a reason why she's still here, but I'm just as, if not more so certain, that to just a second intrude along the logic of the first would be a ludicrous action. What's she doing?
I suppose she's locating the motivation for the tea drink.
But for what purpose? You let her in!
The conversation at the library this morning. Was anything else discussed? Past information regarding your partiality for the conditions of tea?
Now that you mention it, there was, yes.
Yes. She proposed a theory on the validity of a shortbread biscuit as being the most effective companion as a dunking instrument. I know, it's rather ridiculous, isn't it? It's practically idiotic.
Was anything discussed expanding from the most minute or vast detail irrelevant to the cup of tea?
I suppose.
Yes?
Oh, but I don't see how that would help us at all. We are dealing with a cup of tea that was made undoubtedly and inexplicably clear to the culprit was mine, due to its specific, necessary qualities widely known by the staff of the library.
Every Tuesday morning at 10:17.
And because I was involved in conversation with the woman at the time, is now knowledge that she now shares.
Conversations, of all things, to trap a man perfectly off guard whilst waiting inescapably in a queue.
Scoundrel. His therefore revolves around a deliberate and malicious attack on a man's specially prepared beverage. What else need concern you?
Does nothing occupy your thoughts past your damn cup of tea? Is that all there is in this entire house you're fixated on correcting?
Is there anything wrong with the house?
Of course it is. Everything else is where it should be, engaged in the activities it should be performing.
This here, that there, no two copious amounts of dust settling on any ornament or object.
Is she suggesting there's something wrong with that?
I mean, look at this place. I'm not even entirely sure I'm safe here. I can assure you, sir, you're alone in your obsessions.
Is that a bad thing?
I'm just a guest. I do not intend to stay here any longer than I needed.
No. A benefit to us both. I know how things operate in here. Others are strangers to relationships with the things I have inside.
I understand, sir. I was made aware before I entered. In fact, I think it must have been a mutual feeling of our shared urgency for resolution to the problem.
You were made aware.
By the team, yes.
There's a team.
Yes.
For a cup of tea.
Yes.
I wasn't aware the situation had escalated in such an operation.
So what we seem to be unaware of, and alerted to.
They're waiting just outside for my report.
They're outside!
Well, not to worry, sir. They're our support in this investigation as we're gunning the same engine, aren't we, sir?
One, then two, now an entire team. The only conversation I have dared to allow in months, and it has resulted in half the armed police force considering multiple investigations outside my door.
In this department, we understand the importance of a man's cup of tea.
Well, finally.
Such cases like this require warrants. They require overtime, plans, presentations, priority meetings, and shorter lunch breaks. They will not be taken lightly. This case would require an ulterior motive for its enactor.
What ulterior motive?
You know her. The woman, in my house, roaming my corridors, wafting my curtains as she nonchalantly passes them. You know who she is.
Because you knew that she was female.
I never told you that. An accomplice!
I knew it!
Who is she?
Now, don't be getting the wrong idea.
You let her in!
It took me far too long to gain access happens here,
You
there's no way
retranslate my
I'm
questions and in my
I'm well aware of that.
I'm aware.
When I demand that you inform me.
We don't know! We know nothing of this woman or what happened to her here, to your house, and that is what above all things is most frustrating. That's why I'm here to search your house. We need it. We are getting desperate for clues, and under some curse, having all things simple and straightforward, you're the only goddamn human being, may all things divine and powerful help us, who is able to provide us with the smallest suggestion of a clue.
Why me?
Because you were the last person she engaged in conversation. I need to know what she said to you. I need you to remember.
I don't know! Whatever it is any normal person talks about on a Tuesday morning. The weather, opinions on a news article, the unnecessary health update of their pitifully dying grandmother. Standing too close to spreading their infections, a constant desire to pry into one another's personal lives and stealing information from the unprepared and constantly plotting their methods of murder on unsuspecting strangers.
Every human out there is capable of murder. Some allowed on a Monday morning in the office for a slave-driving employer.
Some to get revenge on a cheating ex-partner.
You're never safe.
A lot of humans at some point or another would jump to murder as a conclusion.
Would it be correct to assume, sir, that you consider murder on the short list of quicker and easier solutions to your quandaries?
What's she doing?
Carmen, it's the general consensus of the public.
Understandably, that would be why you choose to remain indoors for the majority of her life. Such a fear of the outside world. This house of yours is perfect to every degree. But everything inside it's filled with fear. And the slightest corruption naturally results in panic. And once that stage is reached, well, even the sanest of humans will plot methods of murder.
The self-anointed expert on the matter is declaring us insane!
Of course.
A discovery.
Breakthrough, a suspect.
A cup of tea can be a pleasant thing, can't it, sir?
Oh, yes.
The exact correct instalment of whatever it is you should choose to put in it.
That you should choose.
Same every Tuesday morning, is it, sir? Nothing different about this one, nothing extra?
Different from what the routine allows. Of course not. I wouldn't drink it if it was anything different.
Precisely. You didn't, sir. If you're so meticulous about your tea, it would be rather careless for anyone but yourself to have added the extra ingredient. This tea has been tainted
Tainted?
with rat poison.
What?
No one just drinks your tea. More importantly, no one just enters your house. You say she's hiding here, but she could just as easily be trapped. How do you know she isn't stuck here by your doing, and you're not the reason she's lying down dead in the next room?
Kitchen. This is ludicrous.
Ludicrous, is it? The one suggestion I happen to have made in this madly driven, perfectionist land of materialism, that the pressure of upholding it could have got too much for the creator, I would rather suggest that this is our breakthrough. I want you to prove yourself innocent. You know why she's here. She's told you. Prove it.
Prove that.
Prove it? In here, it's all the same.
I can't.
You can. You must.
He can't.
I can't.
You can. Also, help me. I will bring the whole team in here. This is how the department treats them, and they'll be far less considerate towards your simplified and maintained alignments than I ever considered to be.
No, it's not. No, it must be left.
If you can't have any evidence benefiting you in your case, then I'll have no choice but to drive you from your house and allow my team to continue their investigation without your ludicrous obstacles.
I can't! This morning, I am incapable of performing anything remotely resembling my own routine, let alone straying so far as to kidnap and murder somebody else's. For the first time, what's in my house is confusing and scary, and what's new in my house is influencing such antagonistic emotions that it disastrously swell. Everything is confused, unsettled, I don't know what, when, where, why, or how it's even got there. It has always been. I think this darkest fear about these rooms are closed off to me. To be lost in here is to be lost everywhere.
All right, sir. It would appear you need to clear your mind. I will remind you that you're considered a prime suspect in this investigation until you can provide a statement proving otherwise. But I'll allow for that. Stepping outside and allowing for you to put all your energy and efforts into remembering what happened this morning between you and the woman at the library cafe will be my half of an arrangement that resides in you letting me back in after a considerable time that I see fit. Do we have a deal? Good. Be sure to let me back in and my team will have no choice but to drag you from your house under the assumption you could find no evidence benefiting you in your trial.
Well,
Is she gone?
For now.
We don't have to let her back in.
You let him in the first place!
he doesn't look much like a murderer, does he?
That's because he isn't one.
Obviously, look at him.
But it does say so on the door.
What?
That's what a detective thinks he is.
Oh, you're not going to entrust your persuasions with the words of an intruder? The woman intends to arrest us. She has a team.
Because she thinks we're insane.
Which we're not.
Not the last time any was checked.
When was that?
There's no time or space or energy for Shirley anymore. Before this day, we were sure that we were safe and secure within the confines of the house, against all things bearing outside impressions.
But we can be more than fairly certain there is still a presence here. She didn't get here until she got here.
And she's still here.
In the kitchen.
So what do we do now?
Excuse me.
Ah!
Excuse me, sorry. Hello.
Well, she's not dead.
If we remain perfectly still, she might not see it.
Yeah, that's easy for us to say.
Hello. Busy in here, isn't it? Sorry, I hate to bother you. Actually, I hate quite a lot of things, and bothering you is significantly far down on the list of what most concerns me. But it's polite to say so, isn't it? Good choice. I've asked for tea too. So, how do these normally begin? The weather? Have you seen the headlines about... Would you be interested to discover if my grandmother is dead yet? She is. Completely irrelevant, really. That was a while ago. I say I'm a little rusty. How does a year put it into perspective?
What's going on?
Well, it's more a matter of
We can all see it. It's blatantly she's conversing with us.
We're crashing down all of our society. But it's important to try new things, isn't it? No, I don't believe that either. It's just something my completely and irrelevantly dead grandmother used to say. But I have recently come round to the idea of engaging in human interaction before my life ends. Though I suppose I don't have long for the trial. I'm sorry. I'm certain if someone was to forcibly insist conversation on me, I'd have taken necessary measures such as screaming or a kick to the face to prevent it from continuing.
Why?
Why
I do
indeed?
appreciate your patience and general
Conversation
attitude
was in this house.
in
Everyone's a stranger, a dangerous stranger, but not all conversations have been in the house.
I do actually come to this library cafe every Tuesday morning, sit by the window, order a cup of tea, before I read, which last week I believe was the Chartered Institute of Environmental Health publication of a study of houses affected by hazardous surroundings. Just a bit of light reading, you know?
Some of them were this morning.
And I've noticed you do the same. Shortbread. Excellent Dunkin' biscuit for that cup of tea you've ordered, wouldn't you agree? Although, I personally would have avoided milk and sugar, but as my overly referenced dead grandmother used to say, our preferences make us unique.
But she was in the kitchen.
I let her in.
Well, please don't let anyone else in.
Well, are you going to let them out?
Which way is that?
I can't, he's right.
Nothing is right, Celia. What on earth could have spurred you to think that anything was right?
I'm sorry to impose myself on you in what is a very time-consuming queue, but it's rather cathartic to try one last time before the end. Mind that is.
Oh, I suppose
Well, no, we're practically
Listening?
soulmates.
What good was that
Let
to
me
us?
tell
What
you,
good's that ever
I'm
done us?
allergic to kiwi.
Only the
If I was to have
Yes,
a
and
dog,
listen
I
to
would
she
call it
was
Florence.
trouble
But we
too.
may find out more answers as
The
to why
colour yellow
she's
makes me
here.
nervous.
She wasn't
I
here,
know
she was
about
at the
to
library
kill
cafe.
myself.
Well, then why is she here now?
Not much of a talker, are you? I guess you could say, my last conversation doesn't really count now, considering it's technically an exchange of words between two or more people.
She wants a reply.
Well, that's usually how conversations work.
We're not usually engaged in.
No.
No?
Oh,
Sorry.
What for?
For not immediately
I know.
engaging.
I'm sorry. It was rude of me to approach you in the first place when you made it blatantly obvious you didn't want company.
Well, no. Your conversation, or what you just said, there were parts of it I recall quite significantly, and it would be rather a generous coincidence for you to repeat it all word for word. So, unless I'm very much mistaken, I've heard you say all those things before.
I suppose so. Memories can be trapped from you for a time. Especially if it's something you don't want to remember.
You're in my kitchen.
They can track fragments of your past into closed-off parts, until some other party forces you to invite them out.
You
Folders home!
What do you mean?
Move things.
you're in my house. Now.
In peace I am, yes.
Why?
Well, I guess because it's where you keep all manner of important things.
How very presumptuous.
Things that influence you, things that reassure you, but also things that confuse you, scare you.
I do not invite confusing or scary things into my house.
And yet they find their own ways inside.
It happens, and uninvited or not, you're still a host, and hosts acquire all sorts of necessary polite conventions.
What sort of necessary polite conventions?
Ones that don't apply here.
Offering me a seat for one.
Don't you dare.
What?
Oh, you can't be serious. Wait, cheers. You sicken me.
Well, what's next?
Next?
Nothing.
I don't know.
Oh, that's annoying because neither do I. I don't get out of the house much myself, and I certainly don't allow for other people inside.
Actually, neither do I.
Oh, this is an entirely different situation altogether.
How?
Yes, how?
Ask her how.
How?
I meant I don't invite strangers into my house. I can't imagine anything worse. It would disrupt the entire balance of my day, not to mention the distress it would cause if they disturbed my possessions.
What? Now look here. I feel I'm perfectly entitled to make one thing absolutely clear. I do not and will not ever invite strangers into my house. The only ones that have found their way here today have done so entirely by their own means and of their own accord, including you.
Well, that's exactly the difference. You didn't invite me.
Didn't invite! Oh no.
Look, I don't blame you for not wanting me here. But at this point, if an intruder appearing in my house, I would have screamed, grabbed the nearest blunt object of least value, and beaten you to death with it. But just because you didn't invite me, doesn't mean you don't need me.
Need you here?
You need everything that's here, don't you? That's why it's also ordered, properly kept, protected. A sort of haven from the world outside by my reckoning. I had one myself.
You can't possibly believe her. Trust her. She's a stranger. She could reveal her cloaked intentions, pull out a concealed weapon at any second.
What would you guess the next obligatory role of a host to be?
Well, I'm certain comfortable. I suppose the next thing would be something to briefly distract from moments of awkwardness with lack of conversation. Like a beverage.
Oh!
A beverage.
Yes, and maybe biscuits.
Oh!
What sort of beverage?
I suppose it's traditional for a cup of tea.
A cup of tea!
See how she mocks you! Trouble! Dangerous trouble as with all strangers!
Can you not see the most basic, bold, disruptive presence of the looming object directly in front of you?
The single most terrifying thing of all things terrifying.
Yes, it's terror!
A cup of tea. I just assumed that was yours.
She knew all along!
You knew. This specific cup held my specific order.
Very specific.
You reiterated your compliments and admiration for it in our convert. You're talking at me this morning!
Yes.
Well then why did you drink my tea?
I didn't. Oh, damnation on the plate.
You got it trapped now!
That explains a lot.
Guilty.
Where's that detective when you need him?
That's why I needed you.
It's about time that someone delves some answers out to what started out as an incredibly simple question.
To us and the guilty.
What does it all boil down to?
I never meant to drink your tea.
She what?
I'm sorry.
It was an accident.
Yes.
You never intended to drink my tea.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, that's sad. I suppose the only thing we can do is laugh about it now.
things expensive from Debenhams do you mean?
I mean, she's drunk it, hasn't she? Well, the detective said that it was poisoned.
Why, that would make her waiting at death's door with a bottle of wine. Come in.
She could fall down face first at any moment.
They're not here for me at all.
I thought you knew.
Knew! I can assure you I knew nothing!
I told you everything this morning. You came into the closest proximity I've been with another human since I depended on it to survive.
Closeness! I would guess there are more social rules and boundaries to closeness than getting close to somebody and muttering, or else all the London Underground would be at a mass dinner party with an extremely tiresome game of Pictionary!
I had to tell someone. And seeing you at the same time every week on the same day, sitting alone, never noticed by anyone. I took a bold chance that we should common ideals of structure, routine, and the complete absence of social interaction.
Tell me what?
Weren't you listening to anything I said?
Oh, I tried not to!
That I deliberately poisoned my own tea!
But it was my cup of tea you took off the counter.
By accident. It wasn't exactly the most important thing on my mind.
Excuses.
And now, there's a team outside my door.
I know. And I'm sorry, but at least with that detective you can prove your innocence.
Ha! That seems to be the exact opposite of her intentions.
It is a little suspicious for someone to commit suicide in a stranger's house.
Especially with that stranger's meticulously planned cup of tea.
Another obligatory role of the host is to ask after the well-being of their guest. So I suppose it's only polite to ask, when will you die?
10:25?
10:25. Well, I hate to be rude, but I'm afraid it's about time you buggered off to whatever afterlife you've been working towards all your material existence.
That's one way to get rid of them.
We should have thought of that before.
It's already past 10:25, has been for some time.
10:25.
No. No, it must be broken! I've been home for at least...
Everything's breaking now!
It's all going wrong!
We'll be right together until she leaves.
All right, sir, you're running out of time. If you don't vacate your house peacefully, I will be forced to use extensive measures.
Now see what you've done. When I left my house in, why did you follow me home? I didn't ask you to impart your secret from me. The house can't take it.
Because you can't. I don't wish to offer you more warning, sir. The team are getting impatient.
Why did you follow me home? Why did you do this? What gives you the right to come into people's home, take their cups of tea, and fall down dead at your own convenience, only to leave Betsy Aftermouth, your host to clear up any moment now? A terrifying DCI will walk back in here just in time to see you fall flat on your face and the remnants of your sticky corpse to splatter all over the tip of your shoes, and then what do you suppose I do? I cover him over, a cup of tea, and biscuits, with a cup of poisoned evidence!
They'll tear up the floorboards next, expecting to find a librarian with tea!
All hidden by a murderous, psychopathic, isolated, lonely, obsessive creep of a man!
Now see what you've done! My house can't take it!
What? That's why the house is distressed.
You're not making sense!
Your clothes look broken. It's still 10:25.
It can't be!
Your house has been at 10:25 since I died.
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 Well, I'm hoping we also don't go down the ghost route tonight.
No, sorry. You're dead.
Well, that was quick.
Well, less. Forgive me for being ignorant of the afterlife. But I don't recall it written in any holy passages or scientific notes that the dead are able to walk, talk, or invite themselves into other people's houses and drink tea.
And where is your house?
She should know, she got it.
Open up, this is your last warning.
Where is my house?
Yes. Where are we? When you left the library cafe this morning, where did you go?
I went home. It wasn't part of the Tuesday routine, which upset me immensely.
But the address. At this fortress you call home.
It's...
I know the address is...
I died in the library cafe
The library. No! No! I went home! I remember the walk on my way back. The streets outside, it was raining.
You're completely dry.
The kind of rain that actually isn't rain, but keeps you warm and dry. And I came home and started to
You seem to be just staring.
do important household maintenance. Yes, I took this here. No. Everything as it was when I left, and therefore everything is still as it was when I left the library. Kath. Hey.
Except this was never in the house.
Because it's not in your house either.
No, it is. My house. I left it because you. Everyone was staring, gazing with their suspicious eyes, and I left there because you drank my tea. You complimented the most important aspect of my day. And then you took it from the counter, sat right there, and drank it. So I needed to be alone. To think about the world outside.
Without being disturbed by it. I understand, sir. I was made aware by the team who had spoken to some of the library staff of your particularly unusual residence. Back with us now, sir? Conventionally, I take your silence as an unwilling answer to my question, but considering...
I'm here.
You're here? I know you're here. It's where you've been sat since this morning. And there's been an entire irritated and stressed team sat here monitoring your every movement while you continue to just sit here, and I'm left...
I'm back.
Good. Because we still have ourselves a situation. And since you wandered off into your little safe haven, we've had to double our already tireless efforts just to communicate with you. So what I want to hear from you now, in simple, exact, understandable English, no wandering through corridors, opening doors, peering out of windows, or whatever the hell else goes on up there, did you murder this woman? Because right now, the only useful remnant of a clue we've gotten out of you this entire time you've just been sat there is that this is your tea.
That's my tea.
This specific order of tea.
My specific order
This
of tea.
specifically ordered poisoned cup of
I
tea.
specifically ordered
That
poison.
was drank by this now undoubtedly dead woman.
Was drank by this now undoubtedly dead. Oh, bugger.
Remain still, sir, and do not attempt to struggle.
A lot of humans, at some point or another, will jump to murder as a conclusion.
I warned you if you couldn't present any evidence benefiting you in your case.
You let her in!
Sir?
I didn't let you in. How did you get in?
You let me in because you needed me to. Because I'm the only one who doesn't believe you're capable of murder. So for as much as I'd just rather carted off in the back of a white van, and God knows why I shouldn't do anyway, I can't let you be charged guilty if this woman's last moments are falsely represented. I need you to remember, you know why she's in it. Just tell me!
Shortbread.
What?
Are
Are we supposed to be listening?
Listening?
What good would that do us? What good has that ever done us?
Damn it!
Everyone's a stranger,
A dangerous stranger, but not all conversations have been in the house. But she was in the kitchen. I let her in.
Yes.
I let her in because
What did she say?
she told me everything that she...
Sir!
We're practically soulmates.
She could fall down face first at any moment.
If I were to have a dog, it would be called Robert.
Sir!
I'm about to kill myself.
Is that it?
Is what it?
Oh, are we okay? Is it done?
For now.
A human's always going to insist conversation upon us that almost cause our life to shatter before our feet.
Almost because we're okay.
Why do you ask? We can never be certain.
There hasn't been one in a while.
No,
He hasn't been back in a while either.
no,
But that's because they don't want him here anymore.
no.
It'll get dusty in here soon.
We can keep it safe though, can't we?
We always have.
But when he comes back,
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in